supporting this amendment.
Jami-Lee Ross.
Mr Chair, Andrew Little tells us that workers are free to join a union. He tells us that they're free to stay in a union. But, Mr Chair, what workers aren't free to do is vote in a ballot free from intimidation, free from standover tactics, free from the bully boys who are scared that the union's desires may be found to be wanting. Mr Chair, this is a good bill. This is a good cause, and I'm surprised that the Labour Party aren't supporting it. I'm surprised that they aren't supporting it because they're supposed to stand for the small guy. They're supposed to stand for the little guy on the line, doing the hard yard. The little guy whose job and whose paycheck is at stake when they go on strike. Mr Chairman, they should be supporting this if they support the little guy. But really, they're more concerned about the union. They're more concerned about the union being shown up by their own members. Now, Mr Chair, we've heard a little bit about the port tonight. What hasn't been said are some of the... Mr Bridges. Mr Chair, what we haven't heard about the port is some of the things that have been in the paper done by union members. We've had people on independent employment agreements that have been intimidated by union members. We've had people trying to get to work being stopped by union members and being stopped by union officials. We've had people on cranes trying to do their job, but some of the union members have been trying to obstruct that from happening. Now, I'd have to say, if I was one of those workers wanting to cast a ballot that's different from what the union officials want, and I've got those types of people standing over me telling me that it's wrong to vote against their desire for a strike, then I'd be scared to vote against it. But if they had a secret strike provision where they could make their own democratic choice around the strike, they could do so without fear of having come back on them. Mr Chair, I've got a bit of a confession. It's a deep, dark secret that I've been bottling up for many years. I once joined a union. I'm a bit ashamed to say it. But it only took me a few months to work out what was wrong with that decision, because every week part of my paycheck went out of my pocket and it didn't go anywhere useful for me as a worker. So what I did, I decided to stay away from the union and I went on an independent agreement. But Mr Chair, if I was ever sitting there in a meeting having to vote on a strike, then I'd want to know that I'm not going to have union officials and union members breathing down my neck telling me I couldn't decide against going against this strike. Mr Chairman, this is a good provision. It will bring democracy to the little guys. The little guys that the Labour Party is supposed to be supporting. They don't support the little guy anymore, they just support the unions. They support the union officials like Andrew Little and Darian Fenton, and Mr Chair, they should be supporting this.
The question is that Darian Fenton's typescript amendment to insert new subsection 5 to new section 82A be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. Noes have it. Party vote. The clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes opposed.
New Zealand Labour.
34 in favour.
Green Party.
14 votes in favour.
New Zealand First.
8 opposed. What? Order. Look, order. This House has by tradition not had comments under voting for two reasons. It's hard enough to pick up exactly the diction of some people when they're voting. That's one. Two is no person will vote in this House under any sort of juries. None whatsoever. And if there's going to be interventions during voting, people will take an early shower. Let's make that quite clear. Thank you, Clerk.
Māori Party.
2 votes opposed.
Mana.
1 in favour.
Act New Zealand.
1 vote opposed.
United Future.
1 vote opposed.
Any other votes?
The ayes are 49, the noes are 71. The amendment is not agreed to. We move now to Darian Fenton's typescript amendment to insert new sections 82D and 82E after section 82C. The question is the amendments be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. Aye. The noes have it. Party vote. The clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes opposed.
New Zealand Labour.
34 in favour.
Green Party.
14 in favour.
New Zealand First.
8 opposed.
Māori Party.
2 votes opposed.
Mana.
1 in favour.
Act New Zealand.
1 vote opposed.
United Future.
1 vote opposed.
Any other votes?
The ayes are 49, the nays are 71. The amendment is not agreed to. We move to Darian Fenton's typescript amendment to omit clause 7, and this is out of order as the bill is considered clause by clause and members can vote on that clause 7 will not stand part. So we then move to the question, which is that clause 7 stands part. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party vote. The clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 opposed.
Green Party.
14 opposed.
New Zealand First.
8 opposed.
Māori Party.
2 votes opposed.
Mana.
1 opposed.
Act New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 vote in favour.
Any other votes?
The ayes are 61, the noes are 59. Clause 7 will stand part. We move to clause 8. And the question is that Darian Fenton's typescript amendment to omit